Share.
Anybody know any good kelp jokes?
Come on, Anita.
There's lots of puns out there. Kelp me, kelp you.
Yeah, Kelp the Sound.
Kelp yourself.
Kelp yourself.
Still clicking? Yeah, so you could scroll down or click and go for it.
Oh, and it goes back. Okay.
So, hi everybody, my name is Lindsay Hammer. I'm the program manager for Prince William Sound Economic Development District. And I'm just here to give you a short and sweet overview of kind of our role in both the regional and statewide mariculture industry so far. So, Prince William Sound Economic Development District, we are a regional economic development organization. We serve the 5 communities in Prince William Sound, so Cordova, Chenega, Whittier, Tititlic, and Valdez. And basically our role is to work with municipal governments and tribal governments, organizations like the Science Center, residents, business owners to help foster economic growth and sustainable development in the region. So for mariculture, we've been involved in a couple different projects, regionally and statewide. Statewide, our biggest endeavor has been partnering with other economic development organizations around Alaska to apply for the Build Back Better Regional Challenge grant, which we received $49 million for collectively to help kickstart the Alaska Mariculture Cluster. So the Alaska Mariculture Cluster is managed by Southeast Conference, which is kind of the Southeast Alaska's regional economic development organization, and they partner with Sea Alaska, UAF, and Alaska She Grant, the Alaska Mariculture Alliance, all sorts of mariculture stakeholders across the state. And our stated goal is to use this funding to develop a viable and sustainable mariculture industry, producing shellfish and aquatic plants for the long-term benefit of Alaska's economy, environment, and communities. So I put the breakdown of kind of how that funding is going to be divided into different buckets. So we've got $10 million for a mariculture revolving loan fund to help provide some capital and break down some of the barriers to access in the industry for new businesses. Governance coordination and outreach is to kind of support some of the regional coordinating efforts around prioritizing plans and activities and needed infrastructure in each region. Workforce development is to support programs, educational programs, kind of like this, just to help get the workforce prepared for the upcoming industry. Research and development, $1.5 million. Marketing is pretty self-explanatory. There's a little bit of money for some green energy improvements on some of the mariculture technology that's moving into the state. And then the biggest bucket is going to be equipment and technology to try to kind of solve the chicken and egg problem of supply and demand that we have going on by both developing new facilities in the state and leveraging our existing seafood facilities ready for kelp. So Prince William Sound Economic Development District has been working with the Alaska Mariculture Cluster to try to figure out how to parse out these funds and make them available for projects in the state that will help catalyze the industry. These funds are not yet available though, unfortunately, but they are in the pipeline, in the works, and I would encourage all of you to check out the Alaska Mariculture Cluster's website. It's a great place to find updates on the project, more information. They've got employment opportunities, upcoming events, mentions of Andy's work in the news. So it's a great resource for anybody who's interested in the work that the Alaska Mariculture agriculture cluster is doing, or just in agriculture in the state in general. So to, I guess, back up a tiny bit, Prince William Sound Economic Development District is one of the partners that's been heading up the government coordination and outreach sector of the grant funding, which means that we've been holding meetings with kelp farmers in Prince William Sound and other regional stakeholders to try to figure out what our funding priorities are going to be for the region once these funds become available. And from those meetings, we've kind of put together a very basic, very short list of funding priorities. So we're hoping to get one FLUFC for the Sound, which is a floating upweller system, I think, which is basically a place that you can grow shellfish while still keeping it protected. We would also like 2 kelp seed hatcheries in the Sound, ideally one in Cordova and one in Valdez. We really need some kelp drying equipment. It is just not cost effective. It is not feasible to ship water saturated, heavy, wet kelp from our rural communities to markets down south. And we've been thinking about a couple different ways to try to get some funding to get some of that equipment in the region, which I will talk about a little more here in a second. And all of this kind of coalescing into hopefully 1 or 2 small-scale processing demonstration projects. We would eventually like to have 1 small processor in Cordova and 1 small kelp processing facility in Valdez, just to kind of have them spread out across the Sound. But again, that Build Back Better funding is not available, and harvest season is approaching quickly, and we've got folks who already have lines in the water. So we've been thinking about other ways to at least get some kelp drying equipment in town. And most recently, just this last week, we applied for the USDA's Rural Business Development Grant to purchase a commercial food dehydrator to help local kelp businesses kind of test different processing methods with the dehydrators and then look at those effects on final product characteristics and how tweaking different processing methods affects the kind of different products that you can produce. So, so that is in the works. We're not expecting to hear back about that funding, unfortunately, until this summer. We also are not really sure where we're going to house this commercial dehydrator yet. We've had a couple conversations with some of the local processors about keeping it at one of their facilities, but there's concerns about cross-contamination with some of the salmon processing going on. So we're still on the hunt for a place to put it. If any of you have any ideas about where in Cordova or even Valdez we could house a commercial dehydrator, it's not very big, it's like 7 feet by 5 feet or something, let me know. I would love to hear ideas. And then kind of separately, since November of 2020, Prince William Sound Economic Development District has been working with the McKinley Research Group to assess the feasibility of developing a shared multi-purpose seafood processing facility in Cordova. So a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot space that would be available to seafood and food businesses. So direct salmon marketers, kelp and shellfish farmers, cottage food businesses, and it would just have a bunch of different processing equipment available for rent. So things like hand fillet tables, potentially a blast freezer, maybe some vacuum packing equipment, and maybe a commercial food dehydrator for our kelp farmers. But that's something else that's kind of in the works right now, but lots of good work happening. So that's all that I really have for today. I'm happy to take any questions. I would encourage all of you to reach out to me if you're interested in the work that the Alaska Mariculture Cluster is doing, or if you want to be in any of our regional meetings where we talk about what our funding priorities are going to be. Once those funds get released, you can email me or chat with me after this, and I'm happy to include any of you on the conversations there. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.